show.
Welcome to a Game 4 second round reaction show on the Gluns for Punishment podcast, or GFP, a Toronto Maple Leafs and NHL podcast hosted by Michael Lepore and Anthony Bruno. The Leafs stay alive in Game 4 with a 2-1 win over the Florida Panthers. The doubt might be creeping into that Panthers locker room. I know it's only one win, but it's now a 3-1 series. They're heading back to Toronto for Game 5 on Friday night, and the Leafs have a real opportunity to scare the living shit out of the Florida Panthers if they can win Game 5 and send this back to Sunrise for Game 6. We are going to give you our thoughts and opinions on everything that went down in Game 4 and what we think is going to play out the rest of this series. So now, it is officially time to welcome in my partner in crime, Mr. Michael Lepore. How you feeling, man?
How am I feeling? A little better, I'd say. Probably like most Leafs fans. Not quite fully in the dumps, but still a long way to go before I'm cured from the blues. It was a good effort tonight. They came out and played, I think, what most people would call a solid road playoff game. They did what they had to do to win. They sacrificed their bodies, and it was just fundamental. I guess that's the way to put it. Sometimes I'll use the terminology, a team looked like the German soccer team. And what I mean by that is they just come out, they look like robots. You can tell there's a mission and they get the job done. That's what the Leafs did tonight. Shout out, man. Joseph Woll. Like, not that he was absolutely fantastic, but he made the saves he had to. And he just looks solid, just tight, not overcommitting. It's nice to see, man. And people who've watched hockey for a long time know that weird, random things can work. Putting in this goalie, I don't think is a bad idea, and I think it's a good thing for the Leafs for the rest of the series.
Yeah, Joseph Woll has been excellent, not only tonight, but the entire season.
Fair
in
enough,
31 games this season at the AHL and NHL level, including the playoffs, Joseph Woll now has a .926 save percentage. And he's so technically sound in the net. He's not flopping around. Like, what do we see with Ilya Samsonov? He can be fantastic at times. At other times, he's flopping around like a fish out of water in the crease. It's like, what is going on with this guy? And again, not to completely rip on Samsonov. He did have his moments in these playoffs, but he was struggling in this Florida series. Like, Sergei Bobrovsky completely outplayed him. And let's not get it twisted here, all right? Sergei Bobrovsky has been the story of this series. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Don't let anyone tell you it's Matthew Tkachuk or Sam Bennett or anyone on the Leafs. Sergei Bobrovsky now, in these 4 games, has a .934 save percentage. The Leafs have only scored 12 goals in their last 6 playoff games. That's obviously, that has to improve. That can't keep happening, but a big reason why it is happening right now is the play of Bobrovsky, but that was a perfect road game. The Leafs locked it down. The core 4 showed up. You could see they were on a mission tonight, as you said, Lepore. A quote from Sheldon Keefe. He said, "I thought it was our best effort of the season."
Oh, I didn't hear that. Powerful words from Sheldon.
I'm reading this off of Twitter from David Alter,
Okay.
a very trusted Leafs reporter.
I was going to say, it's got to be true.
So strong words from Sheldon Keefe. After the game, I'm going to go watch the post-game media availabilities, as I always do. I'm a complete nerd when it comes to that, Lepore. You know how I am. I listen to every single word that these guys say after games. But yeah, I mean, fantastic road effort from the Leafs tonight.
Yeah. You know what? Let's talk about this, because we're talking about the media scrums. And comment down below, Leafs fans, what you think about this. Am I the only one who gets totally rattled by the responses of the players in this situation? Yeah, they're getting asked hard questions. I get it. You guys are losing. You don't want to do all the media stuff. But can you not at least show some aggression and show some passion? And you know what? I'll say it goes for Keefe too. They just give that PR Toronto Maple Leafs, Lou Lamoriello answer where they don't really say anything. And I think at a time like this, fans would like to see anger or just acknowledgement that they haven't been good enough, or swear, like do something to show us that you really and truly care. Like when someone asks you, you guys are down 3-0 in the series, how does it feel? well, we got trust in this group and we're going to give it our all and take it a game at a time. No, like it's not
That's
acceptable.
the worst.
That's not acceptable in my eyes. I want you guys to say, we have not been good enough. We've let a lot of people down, and we're going to do everything it takes to get back in this series. We're going to die getting back into this series. That's what fans want to hear. Like, fans right now are pissed off. They're angry at the way the series has gone. And these guys are going up there just spitting out that PR boring shit. And I get that during the season. And I get that you get asked these questions you don't want to answer. And I get that it could be repetitive. But at a time like this, I don't know. I'd like to think that maybe not every time, but I'd like to think quite often the players are prepped by Leafs PR before these scrums. Okay, we're going to go this direction, say this. This is the mood. I think they're getting it wrong. We are flipping out because we're not seeing passion. We want to see passion. Give us that. Show us that you're pissed off. And again, guys, comment down below what you think, but it's rubbed me the wrong way because, again, I've been angry. Anyone who listens to the show knows that I've been pissed off as all hell at this group. So I didn't appreciate those passive comments.
Lepore, I couldn't agree more. I would love to see some more passion and anger from this team in their media availabilities because it just hasn't been there. Now, I will defend the Leafs in this way because I've worked in media for a long time, over a decade now. I've been around the Leafs. Like, I've been in the locker room. I've been in post-game scrums.
Humble brag, Anthony.
Working
Bruno.
for the different networks that I've worked for. The Leafs keep things so close to the vest from a PR perspective. They're very robotic. They're very traditional. The way they run that operation, I'm telling you right now, for someone who's been there, and listen, it's not like I've been following the team every day of my career, but I see how that team operates and the PR staff that they have in place. It's like I said, very robotic. They don't give you anything. It's by the book. And I don't know if that's rubbing off on the players and they're coaching them in a certain way, how to respond to the media. And we all know how aggressive at times and how difficult it can be to deal with the Toronto media because you have a million media members there. And again, I don't want to blame anything on the media and say the Leafs suck because of the media, but it is a different atmosphere to deal with as opposed to being in Dallas after a Stars and Kraken game. I don't know how many reporters are in that Dallas Stars locker room, but I know it's not even remotely close to what you see in Toronto. So maybe that has something to do with it, but I couldn't agree more, Lepore. Like I would love for someone to come out and not one of the new guys. It has to be one of the core four or Morgan Riley and be like, listen, we played like shit in the first 3 games. We need to be better. The way that we've played so far is unacceptable. Now, I love that they answered the bell tonight, and I love that Morgan Riley said before the game that they are not going to go down easy. And I love that they responded in the way that they did. But now we got to see them do this again in game 5 and keep it going. And like I said, you let that doubt creep in more and more into that Panthers locker room. And a game 5 win would be huge for that.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm not asking for anything crazy. Like, I don't want any of the Leafs players to say guarantee 4 straight wins. Although it'd be pretty cool if one of them did and it would cause a circus. That'd be awesome. But just give us something. Like I said, there is a focus of the fans right now. It's that they're not seeing effort. They're seeing this team fall short all the time. And when there's talent there, which there clearly is, objectively, the Leafs have a very talented roster. When you're unsuccessful, what are people going to point to? The lack of will, the lack of heart and character. It's the old saying, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. So people are going to circle that and say, you know what, guys, you don't have it. So because we're screaming that, I'd like to hear a response to that. People would have loved for Matthew to go on the mic and start blasting the F-bomb about how pissed he is at how he's played and how he really wants to turn around the series and for the city and for the organization. No, just boring, straightforward PR. Like, I know these guys are hockey players with no personalities. It's not the NBA, but like I said, a time like this, when people are freaking out, give us something.
And you know what, Lepore? Like, I'm just thinking back now, like, who's the last Leaf that's actually like worn their heart on their sleeve, like consistently when they talk to the media over the last, let's say, 10 to 20 years? No one.
Yeah, literally.
Like, even go back to like the Dion Phaneuf and Phil Kessel days. Go back to the Matt Sundin days. Sundin, so robotic, like a phenomenal leader, first ballot Hall of Famer. But when he spoke to the media, he spit out his cliches. He led by example. He wasn't like a big rah-rah guy.
But he's a Swede. What do you expect, right? I mean, for me, I'll give Mats a pass with that one.
But it just goes to show, man, I don't know if we're onto something there. I think a part of it is the way that the Leafs run their organization in that tight
100%.
ship.
Yeah, 100%.
Like that definitely has something to do with it. But yeah, you would like to see a little bit more passion. How do you think the rest of this series is going to play out now? Like, how are you feeling heading into Game 5 back in Toronto?
The magic question. We all knew tonight would be a big stepping stone because, I mean, even though the Leafs lost the first 2 games of the series at home, going back to Toronto and getting a win against that crowd, getting a 3rd straight win is going to be tough for Florida. I'm not saying they can't do it, but it's going to be tough. And can they beat the Leafs 3 straight times at home? And to that point, if they do, well, they deserve it. We don't deserve it if we lose all 3 games at home. So Game 5, I mean, I'm not going to make a straight prediction, but I will say this. In today's NHL, it's hard to win 4 straight games against anybody, okay? Because there's bound to be a game where the other team gets some luck. There's bound to be a game where you get some bad luck. There's bound to be a game where their goalie plays amazing and steals the show. So there's those things you can't control. So for that reason, it's tough to win 4 in a row. But I will say that I don't know how many total times teams have been in this situation down 3-0. Of course, people are spitting about all the times people have actually come back and won, but I don't know the exact number of how many times it's happened, a team being down 3-0. I think compared to any other team that was in this situation, the Leafs in this series have as good of a chance as anyone did because, again, 3 games left. 2 will be in Toronto, and I will say it, the Leafs are a better team. They're going to be favored. They were favored tonight.
The line's already out. The Leafs right now for Game 5 are minus 165 favorites.
Okay, I was going to guess like minus 180.
So they've been the betting favorites in all 5 games of the series.
Easy. And Bruno, that we said 165, that's going to push up. I
Probably
guarantee
that could close at like minus 180, minus 185 potentially.
100%. So, I mean, and that's Vegas betting bullshit. They know which ways people are going to go because everyone's going to be smashing the Leafs for Game 5. But I mean it. They have as good of a chance as anyone ever has being down 3-0. 2 games at home. Hopefully get some momentum and stay the course, man. But I do think that, and I'll give the team credit here, I don't think the approach will be the same approach the rest of the way as it was tonight. The way I would see it, the way I would see it going is, okay, Game 5, we have to ride, like Game 5 has to be how they started Game 2. We have to ride the crowd, ride the momentum, and blow the doors off this team. And that'll help with the doubt. That will go beyond a second win. That'll really creep in the doubt into Florida. It's Game 6 where you have to be touchy. If they go in exactly how they went in tonight, totally robotic, play a low event game, protect the front of the net, I won't be surprised at all. And then Game 7's a Game 7. I have no fucking clue which
flip a coin.
Yeah, how the Leafs are going to approach it. I don't know.
No, I couldn't agree more because if you think back to Game 2, that was so close to being a blowout. The Leafs go up 2-0 on that Ryan O'Reilly power play goal, but then they give up that 2-1 goal to Florida. I believe it was the Anton Lundell goal where Tavares blows the tire. The puck is centered right in front of the net to Lundell, and it's 2-1. If the Leafs score that 3-0 goal, that game's probably over.
Yeah.
And now we're looking at a 2-2 series at this point. So I 100% agree with you. They got to come out strong in Game 5, ride the crowd, and just try to blow the doors off this team, similar to what we've seen across the league in the second round. Yeah. Like the New Jersey and Carolina series, every game is a blowout.
Yeah.
Even in the Vegas-Edmonton series, there's been a couple blowouts.
Seattle Dallas, same thing.
Seattle
Every other
Dallas
series, blowouts. Yeah. No game's been close.
The Leafs and Florida series has been the tightest series of the second round. And I said this on the last show. You know, everyone's like, oh, Bruno, how could you bring up like the regular season records? And honestly, what's happening in the regular season between the Leafs and Florida is playing out exactly the same in the playoffs. 6 of the 8 games that they have played now this season have been 1-goal games. And one of those games was a 2-goal game. Like, these teams have been so tight all season, 3 overtime games in the regular season. And now we've seen 3 1-goal games out of the 4 in the playoffs. It's been razor thin. And as I said, the difference has been Sergei Bobrovsky. And do not let anyone tell you otherwise. Sure, the core 4 did not show up in game 3. They were complete no-shows. Maybe Nylander you could leave out of that because he was pretty good. But Sergei Bobrovsky, man, he's been unbelievable. And he has been the difference in this series. If Bobrovsky doesn't play as well as he has, this is either 2-2 or it might even be 3-1 Toronto. And you might think I'm crazy, but I truly think that he's been the best player in the series.
It's just math. If you look at his save percentage and what it is, and you adjust it to something human, the Leafs are winning the series. And then that's not an excuse. I mean, the goalie is part of the team and he's playing amazing and he deserves credit. So then the Florida Panthers deserve credit. But no, if anyone thinks that Bobrovsky's not the MVP of this series, they're nuts.
And one thing I loved about Wall starting tonight, and I was telling some of my friends, I maybe even texted you about this as well, Lepore, it gave the Leafs something to rally around. Like you're down 3-0, and it's that one thing you need to just gather the troops and be like, let's do this for Joseph Wall. The kid is making his first career playoff start. He's 24 years old. He's been great all season. Our season's on the line. Let's not hang this kid out to dry. And they played their asses off. Think about all the block shots tonight.
Yeah.
Guys throwing their bodies in front of shots. Luke Schenn. I mean, what can you say about Luke Schenn? That defensive play that he made, I believe it was on Carter Verhaeghe right in front of the net where it looked like he had a step right in the slot. And Schenn with that beautiful stick check. He's been phenomenal, not only in this series, but the entire playoffs. Him and Morgan Riley have been the Leafs' most reliable D pair. So I love how they rallied around Wall. And now maybe Wall gets a little juice, man, and gets some more confidence and thinks, you know what? Why not me? We've seen rookie goalies before in the Stanley Cup playoffs go on some magical runs.
Yeah.
Cam Ward, Matt Murray,
Jordan Binnington, Patrick
Waugh. Like, again, I don't want to be so quick to lump Joseph Wall into that, but we've seen it before. The script is there. It's played out in the past. So just something to think about.
100%.
All right, Lepore. Is there anything else you want to get off your chest before we wrap up this podcast?
I like how you're giggling, man. But let's keep it rolling. If there's a message I could send to the Toronto Maple Leafs players right now, it's this, okay? We mentioned how they've been on the mic lately and how they've been approaching the mic. And one of the most common things said is that they don't care what people outside the room are saying, okay? Well, you do care. You do care. Well, if you don't care, I'm disappointed because you should care. You know the things people are saying to you. They're calling you weak. They're calling you soft. They're saying you're not good enough. Okay. So try to take this situation as an opportunity to prove everyone wrong. People thought winning a round squashed the whole narrative. The Leafs can't get it done. Being one of the handful of teams in the 100+ history of this league to come back in the playoffs after being down 3-0, that'll earn you respect. So you have an opportunity here. I was on this show ripping you guys apart. And I'm sure a lot of people watching the games in their family rooms, people on Twitter, different forms of social media were just destroying this team. And why? Because they were disappointed. The media guys, everybody, it wasn't good enough. So you have a chance to prove everyone wrong, or at least prove what everyone hopes you guys can really be.
Tonight was a rough night for Leafs haters. All the people on social media writing the broom emojis and all the Matthews and Marner memes about how tonight's going to be the last game. I saw this meme going around. It was a save the date card with Matthews and Marner on it. Save the date, like for a wedding. Leafs elimination.
Oh, yeah.
May 10th, 2023. See you there. So you know what? I love that they stepped up because there was a lot of people doubting them. A lot of people thought that they were going to fold up shop tonight, pack it in for the season, head to the golf course. That was a character win on the road. And now they got to do it again in game 5. Will they do it again? Who knows? They have not been good on home ice in these playoffs. But like I said, the one positive thing you could look at, they outplayed the Panthers in game 2 significantly. Outplayed them in game 1, maybe not as dominant. And Bobrovsky was the difference. So if they can bring that same energy to game 5, I think we're going to be heading back to Sunrise for Game 6 in Lepore. I got a funny feeling, man, that your prediction might end up playing out. I think we might be back in Toronto for a Game 7.
Yeah, exactly how I thought it was going to go. Right. Exactly. It brings me back. I try to remind myself of something. The shout out Julian Barbosa, the Patriots comeback versus the Falcons. Of course, everyone knows 28-3. Okay. I was reading all the Vegas data and everyone said Patriots. Everyone was betting Patriots to cover and the over. Everybody. And because of the comeback and because they scored a touchdown in overtime, it went over and they covered. So everyone won. It's like, you did not predict it to go this way at all. So I'll be the first one to admit the Leafs come all the way back, win this thing in 7. That's not how I thought this was going to play out.
It's all right, Lepore. We're still going to clip that out, you calling Leafs in 7 if it plays out that way, and we're still going to post that clip anyway and make it look like you are Nostradamus, man. So
yeah,
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I mean, the table is set here because usually it's not the team with home ice advantage who's in this situation. Usually you're getting swept at home because you've lost the first 2 games on the road because you're not the better team, and then you usually get swept on home ice when you come back home down 2-0. You lose Game 3, lose Game 4, but now the Leafs have home ice. It's like you said, Lepore, they have Game 5 and 7 on home ice if it gets to that point. Now, Game 6 is going to be tough, but we won't jump too far ahead. First, let's focus on Game 5. Take it one game at a time, one shift at a time, and then we'll see what happens.
And if you're going to the game, I know it's expensive, but maybe some people here have season tickets. I don't know. However it happens, if you sneak in, I don't give a shit. Be loud. Be crazy. This can't be how a regular season Toronto Maple Leafs game feels. We need Florida to be afraid when they step on the ice. Be loud, be aggressive, have fun.
You nailed it, Lepore. I want Scotiabank Arena to be an absolute hornet's nest on Friday night for Game 5. All right, that is going to do it for this Game 4 reaction show of the Glutton for Punishment podcast, or GFP, a Toronto Maple Leafs and NHL podcast hosted by Michael Lepore and Anthony Bruno. If you're listening to us for the first time, or if you're a longtime listener and you really enjoyed this episode, please consider giving us a 5-star rating and review on both Apple and Spotify. It would really help us out. And if you've just seen us for the first time on YouTube, you're just cruising by this channel for the first time and you really like this show, please consider smashing the like button and subscribing to the channel. Leave a comment down below. We want to hear how you think the rest of this series is going to play out. And ring that notification bell while you're at it as well for the latest Leafs content from the GFP podcast. That's going to do it. Everyone, enjoy your Thursday. Have a great Friday. We'll all get ready to watch that game on Friday night. Whew. Until then, go Leafs, go. And we will see you in the next one.
Take a breath, everyone.